Hey guys, how you doing? I'm 2 or 3 days into this project, so we'll do a rundown so you can save time and money, unlike I did. A couple days ago, my Mazda Protege 5 did not start. It did not crank over. I have a reasonably new battery, so I could hear clicking inside my car. And I figured the clicking was a relay that controlled the starting circuit. That was incorrect, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Long story short, I figured I had a bad starter. So now, if you look through right there, you can see the sticker on top of the new starter. I'll just leave the starter video separate because that was a whole different game. If you get through what I'm going to talk about now, and that doesn't fix your problem, then look at the starter. Otherwise, don't mess with the starter. It's a pain in the butt. This is also a pain in the butt, but at least it's easy to get at. So, what we have here is an actual decent diagram of the starter system for a Mazda Protege 5. It's probably the same for a regular Mazda Protege. So, take a peek. I'll probably have this linked up on a blog type post, but if I don't, there's your diagram. So, we'll go through it real quick. If your car doesn't start, first thing you want to do is, if your instrument cluster, if it pegs on H, on hot, when you turn the key to the run position or the on position, that's probably this guy. That's your 100 amp main fuse. I actually haven't pulled it out, so I don't know exactly how to do that for you. I think there's a special tool for it, but I'm sure somebody else has information on that. This is your little IG key fuse. It's not really a fuse, it's a relay. But this little guy comes on as soon as you turn the key to the run position. This just pulls out. It's that pin out. I have seen a couple of these where if you see these pins are fried, you probably have an issue with grounding or something to that effect. The pins on the top, it's a 12-volt signal, so this is actually a relay. As soon as you turn your car on, it puts 12 volts to the thing, to the relay, so it'll pretty much automatically be on all the time. You can test this by applying 12 volts across the top two terminals and testing for continuity between the two bigger terminals. That's what I did, and that tests out okay. Next, you will be looking for the starter signal fuse. Check to make sure that is okay. The starter signal fuse is number 12. Number 12 is on the outside. I'd probably just test both because I don't like to look at diagrams, but it's definitely the outside one. So if this is good, that's your starter signal. And what you can do from this point is I would actually pull this fuse out if this fuse is good. Well, I mean, you'd have it out anyway. I'd run my probe connections into the hole. You would want to use... Oh, do I have it laying around here? I have lots of stuff out because this has been a multi-day project. So to do something like that, you need a multimeter. Doesn't have to be fancy like this one, but you'd want to have some probe leads and a wire. You could use pretty much anything that would fit in a hole and not short out. So insulated would be good. We'll actually not. Sorry. Okay. Here we go. So how you do it is you would have these, you'd stick one on each side. You would set your voltage meter to voltage, DC, and you should probably read 12 volts at your signal when you turn the key to the start position, okay? If you don't see voltage here when you turn your key to the start position, you're not getting signal to this point. So, we look at our circuit diagram. We have our battery. We made it to our main fuse. We made it to our key fuse. So, made it through up to this point. Now we're following it around, and we make it up to our ignition switch. If you don't have power at your signal fuse, which is your 10 amp, the one I was just pointing at, number 12, your problem is most likely either in your ignition switch, which is what I've been seeing people replace, or on the manual there's a push button on the back part of on the clutch, so when you push it down, I'll show it to you in a second. So when you push your clutch down, it pushes the switch, and that'll carry it around. So if you didn't see it at your 10 amp fuse, it's either in your ignition switch or in the switch on the back side of the clutch. If you're on an automatic, try shifting from park to neutral, and most people I've been seeing, that'll start their car. There's a little same kind of deal. There's a switch in your transmission that makes sure that it's safe to start your car. Okay, so I have things apart, which you might care about in a minute. Okay, so yeah, the switch you're looking for is that little guy. The easiest way to test this, though, is that's your plug. You pull that out and put your probes into the plug and turn your key to start. If you got voltage here, if you got voltage up here, that probably means your switch is shot. Alternatively, you can pull the plug out and put your multimeter on continuity test, which is the thing that makes it beep when you touch the probes together. And if you touch across there and push the clutch, it should beep when you push the clutch in. Okay? It's pretty hard to do when you're by yourself, though. Okay. Now, like I said, I've replaced other stuff, so I've got things apart. To get your steering wheel nonsense apart, there's 3 screws. 2 machine screws that'll be in, or no, 2 kind of like sheet metal crap screws in the front, and 1 machine screw in the back. They just thread out. I had to take a flathead screwdriver, and I ended up coming in here, and I gave it a half turn to pop this free. There's a bunch of little pegs that hold it together, so yeah, that's not too big a deal, but it'll pull apart. You just need to be careful so you don't scratch things up. Now, the part you're actually going to be replacing, if your ignition switch is shot, and not the tumblers and all that other stuff, that's over on that side, is this little humdinger. And I think there's only 1 screw that holds it in. You're gonna need one of the it's a Phillips head, and it'll be an L-shaped Phillips head. You can use that to get this loose, and then I've seen other people just using drill bits to back it out. The plug, can we actually see the plug? Okay, so the plug goes in. It's got this little red tab on it. Little red tab goes back, and then you push it down and it slides off. I had to use O-ring picks to get everything slid to where it needed to be to get this loose. So if you don't have O-ring picks, maybe you should get some. I also don't have one of the L things, so that's why the switch is still on here. Switch comes tomorrow, and I'm quite confident that the switch is the problem, because I did not have voltage at the clutch. My momentary switch on my clutch tested to be fine. I do have power on my 2 fuses, and things are looking good. One thing you don't want to make a mistake of is you're going to hear something clicking over on this side of your car. Never mind the giant mess. The thing you hear clicking on this side of your car, when you turn your key to the start position, you'll hear a pop over on the passenger side. You might assume that is something to do with your starter. It isn't. It's this relay right here. What it does is it turns off your blower fan. So all the juice from your car is used to start your car. So that is not your problem. I apologize for getting into the video so far, but hopefully those that needed it were still here. And that's pretty much how you go through this system. And if you have any questions, feel free to private message me. I'll probably get back to you. So good luck, and hopefully I save somebody a lot of time, because this has been unpleasant. If you want to know prices on stuff, this thing's about 60 bucks, 50 or 60. That switch inside is about 50 or 60. The starter is about 60-ish on Rock Auto with the core, but if you go to your local parts store, it's probably going to be more in that 120 to 160 range. The automatic the ones for the starters for the automatic transmission cost a bit more, just a heads up, and they're a little bit beefier. But yeah, we're up to 11 minutes, so good luck. Message me if you got a problem, because I spent all this time figuring it out. I like to share knowledge, so good luck.